Welcome to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Tapon. In this episode, I have Michael Zervos back. He is the guy who's the head of the project Cosmos. That's Cosmos with a K, K-O-S-M-O-S. And it is a project of going to every single country in the world faster than anybody else. Fascinating individual, although most people listening to this would roll their eyes and say, no way in hell do I want to do that. He is showing an incredible amount of depth in something that should be incredibly superficial. It's the videos that he makes on Instagram. His reels are quite profound. He interviews people about happiness and what makes them happy, the happiest moments in their life. And we talk about his filmmaking that he does while on this whirlwind travel. It's unbelievable what he's able to pull off in 24 hours in a day. So let's tune in to Michael Zervos. Welcome back to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Tapon. I am here again with Michael Zervos, who is traveling all the countries in the world as fast as humanly possible. He's going to set a record if all goes well. He is on track, so he's got a good chance of pulling this off. And Michael, what percentage of the world is in the bag?
I'm over 2/3 of the way through the 193 plus Palestine and Vatican, excuse me. So yeah, it's amazing to say that. I'm closing in on 70% currently in Europe right now.
Amazing. Yeah. So Europe should go pretty swiftly and without drama. I know North Korea and Sudan are some of the tough ones left. Any other ones?
Well, in terms of, getting in or visas, the official process for getting in, not really. I mean, Haiti is not in great shape right now. As many of your listeners probably know, Port-au-Prince is not very safe, but the eastern side of the country is a bit better. So we've got access there. Venezuela's, it's been a problem spot for a while, but that's not a problem getting in. And then Cuba's Cuba. It's stable. Yeah, other than, Sudan and North Korea, those are the tricky ones.
Got it. And what's your game plan to crack those difficult nuts?
Well, North Korea is out of my control. I just have to throw my hands up and say, what happens, happens. And I've done everything within my power. I'm prepared to visit at the drop of a hat, but right now it's closed to everybody, but apparently that one Russian ski trip that happened in April, oddly enough. Okay. Yeah. It was a one tour
Russian
group
passport or something like that to get there in that ski trip?
Yeah. I mean, there's some. Yeah, I guess so.
And
Russian companies.
The walk around the table in the demilitarized zone is no longer possible, right?
No, not since that one American just snapped and tried to run across the JSA. Yeah.
Right. So that's a tough one. And you don't.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I mean, you could go to China and sneak in illegally, but that's really a tough nut to crack too.
Yeah, that's not. It's not my. It's not something I'd like to do. Yeah, I've tried to keep everything above the board for a couple of different reasons, but we'll see. We'll see how things shake out.
Yeah, I think Sudan, because Sudan is such an enormous country and the border is far more porous, and Port Sudan I think is somewhat functioning. So I just think that you've got a much better shot there versus North Korea is really like a prison to try to break into a prison. And I think that's where you're going to have trouble.
Right. Sudan is, I've actually got a couple of options now for Sudan. And I haven't, and they're both perfectly legal and by invitation. I'm just kind of waiting to see which is going to issue my permit first. That'll be early next year, meaning like January, early February, where I will make that happen.
That's kind of a depressing thought that like you did in 194 countries and your 195th country, North Korea, just doesn't let you in and just completely blocks you. That would be what a tough move, right? Have you thought about that? You must have. I mean, that must keep you up at night sometimes.
I thought about that initially, and I think what really would bother me is if I didn't do everything within my power to make it happen. But if I did my best and it just couldn't be, then I don't know. I'm resigned to that fact, and I think I've just let go.
What about, are there any flights that kind of like have a layover in North Korea? I imagine not, but like you switch planes? Nothing.
I don't think so.
I mean, that's something to look into. I mean, I know that's kind of a kludgy solution, but theoretically, if your plane landed, you are in North Korea. Everybody would kind of
Yeah,
balk a
yeah,
little bit at that, but versus the alternative of having nothing. That's something.
yeah. You're absolutely right. But there is the matter of, at least from the Guinness World Records side, you need to make sure that you mark it in your GPS and you need witnesses to say that you went
But you
there. I
can
mean,
do that.
ostensibly, you could have the people who are on the plane.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean,
but,
you're gonna
but
probably, you could get off the plane and maybe sit in the gate and the lounge area or you got to transfer to another plane. I mean, all that stuff could happen. The other
if
idea
they give you
is
access to Wi-Fi, yeah.
right. And then the other idea is you go there and then you get deported. It's like your last trip.
Yeah, that's I mean, if it's just like that, we wish you could have you. You seem like a great guy, but we're gonna have to send you away. I just I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm so keen on that possibility.
All right. Tell me a little bit about your video making skills there. I mean, your videos are so fucking awesome. They're really great. Uh, High cut rate. In other words, a lot of quick images, 1 to 3 seconds per video shot. Do you ever is it all your footage or some of it is used like from story blocks and whatever?
No, and unless I'm trying to do it like a joke or something like that, where I'm like referencing, I don't know, like I remember doing like a crossfade of The Rock when I was talking about Samoa, just to kind of reference him. All of the images of the country, they're all my own,
That's
and I
amazing.
kind of
To
feel,
me, that what makes that
yeah,
amazing, Michael, is the fact that so many of your images are really cool. I mean, it also shows how much you've traveled within the country because you'll show some picture of, I don't know, whatever, Lebanon or Peru or who knows what. And you're just so many different places that you've been to. And again, that goes back to what I've said throughout our interviews that we've had, that you're not just jumping off the airport, taking a little selfie and getting back in the airport and leaving. You're doing pretty extensive travels within the country, staying there often a couple of days or, to see lots of stuff, not to mention videoing and not to mention interviewing and then having to compile and edit all this stuff. Most people have no fucking clue like how hard all the stuff that you do is. And I just really respect that because I make videos myself and I know what it's like to travel and do all this stuff on the road. It's fucking amazing.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think, there are people maybe within my industry or within kind of entertainment or who make videos or creators that may recognize it. But for me, it's just like I'd rather just keep the magic, the illusion of ease going, and make it so that I don't know. I just rather have people just watch them, enjoy them, and if you want to dig a little deeper and know how the sausage is made, then fine. We can talk shop. But that I think the logistics side of things, the travel, the editing, all of like putting all those things together, maybe I can reflect after the fact. And I don't know. I'm happy that what you see is something that's enjoyable and occasionally people will see the videos and they'll be like, "Oh, you didn't go here, you didn't go there, and you didn't go to this island or whatever it is." And but they don't know the circumstances, and I don't usually clue them in. I don't say, "Hey, I'm only in there for a certain amount of time." I just want people to watch them and to enjoy. They're not, they're not travel guides. They're just kind of my thoughts and sentiments and feelings as I'm in there. I'm not trying to tell people where to go and what to do.
Right. And you have make a lot of profound observations too in like a 1 minute video. So it's very well thought out and very contemplative. So to me, I just commend you on it. In fact, one of the things that frustrates me, frankly, Michael, is that why don't you have millions of followers and, thousands and thousands of likes? And I realize it. Have you learned anything about the whole promotion game? And it pisses me off sometimes that some person puts up a cat video and gets 1 million views, and then you sit here and gesticulate and make all sorts of great content. And I have the same problem. I sometimes work a lot on a video, and then all of a sudden I get like a few views, and that's it. So
Yeah.
what's your reflections on that?
Well, okay. Yeah, of course, the more people watch it, the more people might, particularly the stories. I'm hoping that people can be affected by. That's kind of the main course, if you will, and my purpose for traveling, even for breaking the Guinness record. That was kind of a means to an end of getting some of the trip financed so I could tell these stories and help people. But I mean, look, if I had the time to dig into the meta tagging and the algorithm for each individual country or the regions, like the idea of tagging something when you're in India, just tagging something as hashtag India or hashtag India journeys or whatever it is, and then and not finding particular hashtags in a country of 1.4 billion people and all the tourists that they have. Like you have to do extensive research to be a creator within even a sub-region of some of these countries. But I just don't have the time to do it. I'm creating these things, and maybe at a later time I'll be able to optimize them and re-release them. But just as an example here, I released some of the regional videos, the videos I made in the Pacific Islands, and I just decided, because I was trying to prove to somebody for a separate initiative, that I could grow an audience if I so desired to, if I had the time to do it. I posted the Pacific Island collection of videos, and several of them went viral and got hundreds and hundreds of comments, thousands of likes. It was just me having to dig in and take a look at what was popping and what worked within it. And suddenly I like got 10,000% views on my platform, and I quadrupled my follower count on TikTok. But I can't do it for every location. I just don't have the time.
Right. Yeah. You got to sleep. You got to travel. You got to do. It's just incredible. And you need
Right.
Wi-Fi for a lot of places, and not crappy Wi-Fi. We only have a couple of minutes left, and I want you to talk about your upcoming, schedule. Where are you at right now? We're in almost the second week of December now. So where you're at
Right.
and what's your timing?
So I am heading up Eastern Europe to the Baltics, and then across Northern Europe, spending the holidays kind of in Northern Europe,
Freezing
heading
your
back
ass off.
through around. Yeah, I know. I know how to pick the time, right? But Christmas and New
Yeah,
Year
it's
in
nice.
some of these countries is quite pretty. Yeah. So then I'll cut back around through Western Europe to Central, clean up a couple of those countries, exit Europe by February. Aside from Sudan and North Korea, hopefully those I will have those options there. Head to South America, Central Caribbean, and then I'm done. In effect, it's 5 to 6 months left.
Got it. Okay. So basically you're looking at April timeframe.
Yeah, I mean, necessarily. I mean, this is no secret, but people can figure out when I started, and when I have to end in June is when,
Got it.
like, I'd have to in order to break Taylor a Demon Bronze record.
Got it. Got it. Got it. And so far you're feeling good, except for the North Korea is the only kind of you're on schedule, and
Oh
you're
yeah,
going to be doing Europe. A lot of it's overland, or you're going to be catching flights as well to like bop in, like maybe a couple flights.
yeah. There's some flights. I mean,
Mm.
Iceland, UK,
Yeah.
Ireland. These are flights. There's some flights in Central. It all depends.
Are
Trains
you
are great
exhausted,
in
Michael?
Central and
Is
West.
it starting to build up? Like this is a marathon, a super marathon. Eventually, you kind of get feeling of exhaustion. Has it set in yet, or you still got energy in your tank?
Man, it's a marathon and a sprint. But if I wasn't collecting these stories, if I wasn't inspired on a day-to-day basis by people and really, truly one of a kind stories, I wouldn't be doing this, and I probably would be exhausted. But I feel revitalized every day when I'm sitting down, re-listening to these stories, hearing them for the first time, and I'm grateful every day that I'm able to do that.
Restored your faith in humanity by staying positive and thinking about human happiness.
Yes. Well, I mean, my faith wasn't always lost. I don't think I came into it so cynical, but there is a lot of optimism I'm garnering through a lot of the experiences.
You're like an alien in some ways visiting these places. Like you all of a sudden, I always imagine an alien checking out and realizing, wow, there's a lot of commonality amongst this species of Homo sapiens. They all talk about the same basic things. I mean, they have so many things in common. I imagine that's one of the things the insights that you're having.
Yeah, yeah. There are some reflections that I'm developing over the course of my trip that there's humans are paradoxical, and the further out you get from them, the more similar they can look, especially when you look at them from the top down, literally, from bird's eye. They all look like just tops of heads milling around, doing their thing. And the closer you get, when you're right here face to face, you can smell them, you can touch them, you can see them. Um, there are differences that shape, and there are stories that have texture, and it makes life really exciting to live because they're just everyone is different, but they're also biologically the same. So this is like this dichotomy, this paradox makes storytelling fun and interesting and effective, that you can relate and differentiate using story.
Well, Mike, I'm a huge fan of what you're doing. I wouldn't want to do it myself, and a lot of people probably tell you that, but we respect and admire your persistence, your pugnaciousness at doing this. So kudos to you. And remind people where people can find you at Project Cosmos with a K.
Yes, with a K, yes, the Greek way of spelling it. So it's project-cosmos.com is the website. You can get all my social links and the Project Cosmos on Instagram and TikTok.
Awesome. Well, Michael, again, I hope that we can bring you back sometime in early 2025 to see where you're at. Maybe in the Caribbean, South America, who knows? Maybe before that, maybe when you're gallivanting in Europe and you have great Wi-Fi.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. And we'll be interviewing you in North Korea.
Yeah, please do. We'll see how that goes.
All right. Take care, Michael. And that ends this episode of the WanderLearn podcast, where we explore travel, technology, and transformation. If you'd like to see the show notes with links to what we've talked about, go to wanderlearn.com and click on this episode. If you'd like to connect with me, just remember Tapon. That's my first initial and my last name. Tapon is always my social media username. My website is ftapon.com. Do you want to leave me an anonymous voicemail where you can make a comment or ask a question? Then go to speakpipe.com/ftapon. Furthermore, if you'd like to get rewarded for supporting my projects, then go to patreon.com/ftapon. That's where you can pick up some remarkable rewards for as little as $2 a month. Now, 5 quick favors. Number 1, subscribe to the WanderLearn podcast. 2, download it. 3, share it. 4, review it. And 5, sign up for my newsletter at wanderlearn.com. Our theme music was composed by Eric Stratman. This is Francis Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn.